So hello guys, today I'm going to talk about sprint planning. This is one of the key event in a Scrum. We often see questions coming into in class and people talk about that how to do an effective sprint planning. And when I just ask that what exactly needed to start a sprint planning, I hear about a very different view. People just come and say, hey, we just need a product backlog and we can start. We have a team in place, we just need a product backlog and we can start. But is it sufficient to start a sprint planning? How we are going to have an effective sprint planning if we don't understand that in a sprint planning, what are the key inputs? So let's talk about that first, that what are the inputs that's needed in order to start a sprint planning. First thing, we need product backlog. That looks okay, but product backlog in which form? Hey, we need a product backlog, must be refined. Or you can say it's good to have a refined product backlog because even if you are allowed to do a refinement in a sprint planning as per the Scrum guide, but maybe it's good to have a refined product backlog to ensure better and effective sprint planning. What else? We need to have an ordered product backlog, because if I don't know that what is an order of the product backlog, probably the team may get confused at which one to pick and why to pick. Second thing, that key input for the sprint planning is definition of done. Why is key? Because definition of done help us team to understand how much work we require to do in a particular product backlog item to get it done, because a definition of much elevated definition of done will require more work to do on a particular product backlog item. If we have the simple product definition of done, maybe just to release into in a QA, which not ideally a shippable product or releasable product. But if we have that way, probably we require lesser amount of work to be get done for a particular backlog item. Third thing that we need to know about the either capacity or velocity, or maybe both, depending upon how do you do an estimation and how you pick up the work. One of the ideal way to do that, the team go and calculate their velocity and they pick up 10% plus minus of their velocity. If you're not using velocity and if your team good with the doing and capacity planning, you can go ahead and do the team capacity plannings, and based on that you can pick up the amount of work that you really wish to do in a current sprint. Another important factor that we need to look at it into an input is action item that what we have agreed just day before during our last retrospective, because those action item may have an impact on our planning and also the amount of work that we need to deliver. Because if your action item says that, hey, going forward we are going to have an test automations, naturally you are going to have some effort over there which will not allow you to deliver the amount of work that you were earlier thinking about. So you need to understand the product backlog, definition of done, capacity and velocity, and action item. Now, similarly, what are the output that is going to be from a sprint backlog? Sprint planning. Now, in order to understand what are the key output, first we need to understand what exactly we do there. So PO comes up with a product backlog. A Scrum team, they agreed and decide a sprint goal. Based on the available capacity or a velocity, development team decides how much work they can forecast. So forecast is basically a work that the team think that they should be able to complete in the current sprint. And then a development team comes with their own plan to achieve their goal, and that plan is known as a sprint backlog. So these are the three things, and this is how in which order is get executed. Now, PO propose, can the team go ahead with the same sprint goal that what the PO is expecting? May or may not, or maybe goal can get negotiated here depending upon the team capacity. Forecast also is not usually is about the individual, it's about the team. A sprint backlog which consists amount of work, and usually what happened here that we have PBIs, and PBIs get further splitted into multiple tasks. So we have a task 1, task 2 and all. So one key things that I have not discussed about is who attends the sprint planning. Who is supposed to be attending the sprint planning meeting? It's going to be a Scrum team. When I say a Scrum team means I'm talking about product owner, a Scrum master and development team. Can we have anybody else? Yeah, sometimes depending upon the kind of product that you are building, or also the kind of your system or kind of integration needed, or product scalability can play a key role. In that case, you may be having someone coming from outside known as a subject matter expert, or maybe some other people coming from a different team to look at that what all you are planning. So, but they are optional, always come on the basis of invitation, not usually. What is going to be in duration? A duration for our sprint planning. A Scrum guide says 8 hours max for 30 days of sprint. But that's a maximum time. If you are having a 2 weeks of a sprint, most likely your duration may be a 3-4 hours, 5 hours. This also get impacted on the basis of how well you have done product backlog refinement. Because product backlog refinement help us to produce a refined product backlog. And when you say refined product backlog, that means we are expecting that the team already understand what kind of work they are going to do in an upcoming sprints. So probably you don't need to discuss too much during the sprint planning, because those discussions has already taken place during the product backlog refinement. If it has been done properly, your duration may be a very less going forward. So this is all about sprint planning. We need to care about input, output, what exactly we do here, what is an duration, and who attends it. So if you have any question, let me know. Otherwise, this is what the sprint planning is all about. Thank you guys.